I think about it, and at the same time, I really remember like I gotta have a lot of gratitude for the moment here because it's something a lot of people don't have and don't get to do what they love to do, uh, and still have, like I said, a very normal life.
So, how do you explain identity? What does identity mean to you when you hear that?
That's a loaded question. Um, I think identity is a really personal thing. I think the older I get, the more I understand that my identity is just for me. I think when I was young, I felt more like my identity um, was for public consumption a little
Mm.
bit. Like, I was almost like bouncing my identity off of other people in order to understand myself, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like, there was this kind of sense of like um, calibration that was happening in order to understand myself and my place in the world. And the older I got, the more I started to understand that in order for my identity to really take root and grow, it had to center within myself. And especially over the past, 5, 6 years with my brain injury and whatnot, I really had to kind of go within in order to kind of emerge. And my identity has really had to root itself within myself in order to be the most true version of who I am. And it's never been more true than now. So I think that for me, identity has to have its firmest grip. Identity has to have its firmest grip in you and your internal. It has to root itself in the basis of who you are and then grow from there. And once it does that, the world kind of starts to see a glimpse of the true you. And then we start to feel that and see that through what you make and kind of the music or the product or the art that you put out. And I think we really get a glimpse of that through our guest today. And we're so excited to share their journey with you.
We really are. Sam Bettens from Kay's Choice has had a special place for a lot of us over the years,
Truly.
and we are really excited to bring him on today. We're just really excited. Enjoy the ride.
So I'm Courtney Don,
I'm Chris Margolin.
and this is Cassingles. It's going to be a wild ride.
It sure is. Have some fun, guys.
We're
Listen
so
in.
excited.
Hello, hello.
Hey,
Hello, welcome.
How you doing
thank you.
today?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing all right.
Wonderful. I'm Courtney Don.
I'm Chris Margolin. So nice to
Hi.
have you on today. We really appreciate you. We know we had some scheduling issues early on. I'm so glad that we were able to reschedule and get you back
Of
here.
course. Of
Uh,
course.
so yeah, welcome to Cassingles. We will always warn people ahead of time. We have two crazy dogs. So if Noodle barges up the stairs at some point, which is probably bound to happen, he is in a big old cone from eye surgery a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
And he is 120 pounds of sheepadoodle, so he
He's
is.
kind of a disaster right now.
It will be very obvious. And then our butter dog, who's like 10 pounds of white cotton ball,
oh,
will
I didn't
probably make a
even.
few
It
appearances.
just looked like a perfect little pillow before I saw his head pop up there. That's awesome.
We're hoping he'll stay that way.
I have a
So,
dog too, so I get it.
perfect. Well, welcome to Cassingles. On Cassingles, we always like to start pretty early on. So we like to go all the way back to childhood.
All right.
What were you like at 4 and 5 years old? Who were you as the most formative little kid?
I apparently I was an easy kid. It was pointed out many times because became a lot less easy as a teenager. So I was told many times like, "Oh, you were so easy when you were little." Happy-go-lucky, two older brothers. Loved to play soccer and just be outside. And My dad was a pediatrician, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, so I had like a, you know, pretty carefree, easy childhood. My parents were happy people, so and happy with each other. So not a lot of drama. Just happy to be there kind of kid.
Do you have any memories of those first days of school? Like I don't have any memories of like walking in the first days. I have a couple of like the first days of like kindergarten. I we had to sign to go to the bathroom the first days, and I almost peed my pants because I couldn't remember. Like I mixed up the sign for like yes and bathroom because they were super similar, and they would not let us go until we. And I can just remember like the panic and like crossing my legs until. Do you have any of those like first memories of kindergarten or first grade?
I have ask anyone who knows me a notoriously bad memory. I know people who look at their kindergarten class and like can name everyone in there. Like to me, it's just a bunch of it could be like 25 totally different kids, and I would not know the difference. Like
No,
like
I
this
understand that.
just very bad at that. But there's a couple of things that stick out. I know I forgot my underwear one time. And that was, one of those things where you just don't realize till you get to school. And
Hopefully,
and
you were
yeah,
also wearing pants though, so that was
yeah, yeah. I was wearing a long skirt.
there we go.
It can
It
happen.
wasn't one of those moments where you show up naked to school and you're like, oh, great, and that's the end.
Yes.
How
Yes.
did you handle it?
Um, I would live really close to the school. I walked to school in the morning. So I think I just went back and, was able to talk to the teacher and my mom. I think my mom probably just came and brought some underwear for me. I remember a little later, not necessarily first grade, but always looking at the grade ahead. For some reason, I thought, wow, second grade's got to be so rough. I got to look at these kids' faces and see if they still look happy. And then when I was in second grade, I would do the same with third grade. Like, wow, they look so old. Like, I wonder if they're still happy. I don't know why I did that, but I was always looking at the kids like 1 year ahead to see if like, is that going to be super tough or will I still be okay?
Do you think that's something that carried with you through life as well, where you kind of were looking at maybe, as especially maybe as music started taking off for you, was it something where you kind of looked at that and were asking, are those people on that next level just as happy?
For sure. I mean, we've had this conversation so much with my brother who's in Case Choice and with my wife is like at the next level, the things that I still dream of, what if that happened to my career and what if I could do that? Like, what are you giving up to get to that? There's always something that, there's bound to be something that I have right now that I won't have anymore if something bigger happens. And so we still have to work, we still worry about money. And I often think that as wonderful and beautiful as it may be to not have to worry at all and just have like, we're fine, even the next generation is fine. I know that there'd be a price to pay for that. And I often wonder whether it'd be worth it. Because,
Mm.
the balance that we have right now and the very, I mean, even though I travel back and forth to Europe all the time, but still pretty normal home life here with the kids would probably be gone, or much harder to keep in place. So, yes, I think about it, and at the same time, I really remember like I got to have a lot of gratitude for the moment here because, it's something a lot of people don't have and don't get to do what they love to do, uh, and still have, like I said, a very normal life.
I love what you just said. I struggled a lot when I was young to really live in the moment and spend a lot of time in really happy moments, having kind of a wistful feeling of like wondering about what the next thing was, or struggling to enjoy that really happy moment because there was that like feeling of, but what if, or am I supposed to worry about the next thing, or and I'm autistic, so part of it I think is the like over analyzing and
Right.
like wondering about the next thing I'm supposed to be doing, and always, even when I hit that milestone, over analyzing it because I'm always
Yeah.
wondering about the next thing, and so as I mature, that is the what you just said is exactly what I'm learning to do is enjoy every moment and really appreciate exactly the abundance of what I have and know that it's exactly what kind of the universe has put in front of me for a reason. And then more is coming because of that in exactly the way kind of it was meant to. And how beautiful that is in the path that it kind of unfolds. So I love how you said that, and thank you for that. Uh,
Yeah, it's I so relate to everything you're saying it. And when we were younger, it's not like we weren't appreciative of what was happening to us, like all the, big things that happened to Case Choice in the beginning of our careers. And we were happy to be there and, and definitely grateful at the time. But man, like you said, you're just always looking at that, like, what is this going to lead to? When you're younger. And everything was always moving. And I barely even, I mean, the first 5 years of our careers just went so quick. And it was always about the next thing that was going to be bigger and better. And yeah, it's one of the perks of aging, when you there's got to be some perks, right? Because
Right.
it's definitely not the bones feeling better.
No.
Um, but is that you really get to I feel like I enjoy when I play a live show right now. I can really honestly, and I don't mean to sound sappy, but I can honestly say it's on a whole other level than 25 years ago. I I I'm really just thinking about like, wow, look at us. All of us in the same room. Everyone's quiet and listening. I'm singing. We're all connected. No one's scrolling through their phones. When I do an acoustic set, no one's getting up to go get a beer. It's just it's just an hour and 15 minutes or however long the set goes of like we're all just here together enjoying a moment. And um, I've always enjoyed performing live, but now I just like now it's so just about that hour for me, and how beautiful that is. And I hope it when I think about my future and the things that I want to reach in my career, it is about continuing to be able to have that. If there's zero success and no one comes to my shows and no one buys our records, well, then I can't have that anymore. But it's not anymore about it has to grow because I want it to be bigger. I just want to I want to almost like hold on to it, like whatever level it is, so that I can keep doing it because I definitely had times where I didn't see that value at all, and I was really wondering like I I I couldn't see the value of the connection. And I'm definitely don't want to say like the value of me on stage. I'm really talking about the value of people being together.
Mhm.
And and it felt like I've already sang these songs live. I've already been to this venue, and I didn't feel that, that joy of like, oh, we're all just here together. It felt repetitive, and I just didn't. I've had phases where I just didn't see the value of that, and it's so nice to be in a space right now where I I love writing more than I ever have. I enjoy playing guitar more than I ever have, and I enjoy being on stage more than I ever have. And I don't know what it is about my 50s and what brings me to that moment, but I know it can go away really quick, so I'm gonna enjoy it while it lasts.
Well, and I'm curious because, at its heart, even the beginnings of K's Choice always felt like a very acoustic project. Like it could have, and obviously you've released albums where there's been the K's Choice electric version and the K's Choice acoustic version. So, do you think that over your years of as a songwriter, coming to a more folk and country world, how do you think that's expanded your idea of creating a song, and how has your songwriting grown over the course of that time, and kind of coming to this new, almost new sound, even though it's not quite a new sound, but almost new sound?
Yeah, I think all that, like you said, that acoustic part and that more Americana, songwritery part was always part of our music, and it was always visible on the records at some point. Um, I think part of it is shedding of any expectation, like we're so far into it right now. We're not even, no label is following what we're doing, like nobody cares. We probably won't talk to a label, we'll probably finance it ourselves and not like there's the expectation is really just like, what do I want to make? And when it's with Case Choice, what do we want to make? What brings us joy?
Right.
I love
Period.
it.
You know, what would we want to listen to if we were driving our car right now?
Mm,
That's the criteria. And that has always been, it's always been like that for Case Choice, but you definitely can't underestimate the pressure of expectations when you're younger. And the whole machine, I was 20 years old. I had a manager, I had a business manager, a record contract, a lawyer. I mean, it's just like, when you're supposed to be just like whatever, picking out like, wait, am I going to take a second English class in college? Or, like when you're supposed to be doing that, everything got very serious. Even though music is playful and creative,
yeah.
it got serious really early. So,
Was there a direct? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, just to finish off the thought, I wanted to say that I feel a freedom in songwriting right now that maybe was tougher back then. Um, Partly with age, partly post transition. Just feeling very confident and who I am, and just presenting in a way that I want to present. And so I think that has had a big impact on my songwriting as well.
Nice.
I love that. I love that you can feel the joy coming through and it just the freedom of you in your songs and your music. And
It's a hell of an album, by the way.
it
It's
is.
I
really.
appreciate that. Thanks so much.
And I love that you're just making music from your heart. Being able to experience music in a smaller venue with somebody who is putting out music they truly just love. For someone I haven't been able to experience music at all for the past few years due to I was in a car accident and then have a brain injury, and so
Sorry to hear that.
that's okay. It actually coming out on the other side is such a wonderful experience because of musicians like you, where you're putting out such brilliant music in this way. Because when I experience music like yours, it is such an amazing experience because I can see your heart so clearly through your music. And then to be able to hear your story in this way is such an amazing experience as well. Because not that my story is quite as deep as your story, in kind of coming out through the other side of a transition, but I spent 6 years kind of in the dark through kind of a transition of my own, trying to figure out how to live through my brain injury
Hmm.
and trying to come out the other side of that was so challenging and figuring out how to rediscover who I was. And it is such a hard thing. And to figure out how, how do I even uh, come out as a person, my identity on the other side of it? Like, how do
Hmm.
I couldn't remember a lot of things from being hit on the head. So it
Yeah,
was trying to figure out my identity at all was really a challenging thing. And I had kind of like just slid out of the spotlight completely. So listening to your music was really just such a gift. And talking to you is such a wonderful
I
thing. So
appreciate that.
thank you.
Thank you.
And one of
Thank you
the
so much.
one of the really fun things about this whole process is that it really did start because uh, we've been kind of locked in, just a couple of artists that Courtney could listen to for a long time for the last 6 years because it just was whatever was soothing to her brain at that time. And about 3 months ago, the world just kind of opened up again. And all of a sudden, we started turning on new music. We've been able to go to concerts again. So, last night, we've listened to your album a few times already, but last night, it's 2 in the morning and we're hanging out, dancing around, listening to your album and talking about today. And these are things that never would have been able to happen, over the
Mm,
last several years. So this has been a huge thing for us. And I think music as a whole, it's what it does. I mean, music is supposed to have that rebirth effect. It's supposed to bring you out of the dark sometimes. And I definitely think, your story alone shows that. But when we also look at that, what for you were those songs? Like when for you, what were those songs that allowed you to feel more like you?
Yeah, it's a good question, and thank you for sharing all that. I got the chills while you guys were talking. Yeah, I have songs like that that are so tied to a certain period in my life. Right after I met my wife, I was still married. I got divorced. And there was a song by Sean Colvin. I don't know if you know it. It's called "A Matter of Minutes."
I do.
And it's just when you talk about soothing music, just what you need to hear. And it made me really sad and really it's what I needed at the same time. It's just like sometimes you got like go a little deeper to be able to come out on the other side.
100.
Yeah, as I have songs like that for sure. Like, okay, this is not going to make me happy, but it's what I need to feel right now. And that song just sticks in my head so strongly because of how quickly things can change and how how you just uh that life is all about adjusting to the things that you can't control. It's like I see people around me so often trying to so tightly holding on to things that they want to keep a certain way because that's how they know things to be and that feels comfortable. And unfortunately, that's just not how it works. It's just like life just throws stuff at you nonstop. And how resilient are you? Who are you counting on? Who are the people around you that get you through? Like, what do what can you find within yourself to kind of get to the next level? So, and music, again, is just such a big part of that. It could just instantly bring you that's actually what Coming Home is about too. The song Coming Home on the album is like there's nothing like music that can just so instantly, this is what I need right now. This is what I need to listen to, whether it's happy or sad or um and what's really fun is like we're celebrating 30 years of Case Choice right now with playing the entire Paradise and Me record in Europe, start to finish. And to kind of reconnect with fans that way and they come up to us after the show and it's like that that record or that song was just like I was 16 years old. I could just see myself sitting in my bedroom or listening to my sister's records or whatever and stealing her CDs and that's right after I broke up with my boy or whatever. It's always like some like very very vivid memory
Yeah.
that the music is tied to and so it's really nice to have written those songs for people because I so relate to having those songs for myself or from other artists that like, oh yeah, that song. I have a, I went to college, tried college before, before the career kind of started taking off. Luckily I had a plan B. Um, but, but it was probably the loneliest the first year I went to study art history that I thought I was going to be really interested in. And strangely, my brother had done it 2 years before me, absolutely hated it, and was trying to talk me out of it. Like, you think you want to do this? I promise you, you don't want to do this. So, sure enough, it was the loneliest year of my life. And all I listened to was I Can't Make You Love Me by Bonnie Raitt, just like on repeat.
Oh,
It wasn't even like a heartbreak, it was just the saddest song in the world. And
uh-huh.
I
One of my
would just
favorite
like,
songs.
crackers and jam, just all day eating crackers and jam and listening
I've
to
been
that
there.
song over and over.
I've done
It's
this.
just
I've literally done this with the crackers and jam, little peanut butter thrown in there.
right, right.
Saltines.
Yeah. So just so that song is I have such strong ties to that period in my life. And just as a little side note, I got to meet Bonnie Raitt last year, and it's probably one of the highlights of my
Ah,
life.
Oh,
that's amazing. That's
that is
Yeah.
really
amazing.
cool. Ah,
She
legend.
is one of my idols. My
She's
parents,
amazing.
they played Bonnie Raitt through like my whole childhood.
Oh, nice. Good taste.
I think I saw her at like one of the Portland jazz festivals or something when I was a kid. Like too
Awesome.
young to appreciate at all what I was seeing, right? Like way too
Right.
young, probably complaining that it was too hot or something, and we were at another festival or something, right? Like whining about like, oh, it's the summer and there's mosquitoes or something. And now years later, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got to see her.
Right.
My parents took me to lots of amazing festivals, but
That's
gosh,
awesome.
they always playing in our house as a kid.
So do you think that because you're talking about other people connecting to Paradise and Me, do you still connect to Paradise and Me? How is it for you singing those songs? I
it
mean,
was kind of like a
30 years
yeah.
ago is a long time ago, and you've gone through a lot since then. So,
Yes,
I mean,
and hopefully matured a little bit in those in those years. Um, I have to, in all honesty, when the project was first offered to us, like there's this. It was like a festival in Holland, and this is kind of their concept, like play your most successful record start to finish, and that's the concept. And I thought you know, my first reaction was like, okay, we're trying to do new things. Like the fun is in the creativity and reinventing yourself. And uh, I didn't instantly want to do it. And then it's like, oh, but we can if you do it in Holland, then we can do a show like that in Brussels and in Paris and in Cologne as well and make it like a mini tour. And I was like, okay, that actually sounds fun. We'll get to, get on a tour bus again and and then once I wrapped my head around it and started listening to the songs, it's like, okay, this is kind of fun because some of them we literally haven't played since then. I mean, and some of them, and I won't tell you which ones because I don't want to bum anyone out, really didn't stand the test of time. And there's a reason. There's a reason they haven't made the set list in 30 years. But it was still fun to play it with a different band.
yeah,
Obviously, still me and my brother, but those guys have that we're playing with now. They've been with us for a number of years, but they weren't with us then,
right.
30 years ago. So it was fun to play it with them, and it was actually really nice to connect to that side of ourselves again. And like, wow, who was I when I wrote Wait, And um, we did have to change a lyric here and there that didn't seem politically correct anymore. And um, but all in all, it was actually and still is. We're actually doing I think 6 or 7 more festivals this summer with that concept. And it's really fun, and obviously seeing the crowd and seeing people like our age or a little bit younger, just kind of like you can just see that what we were talking about earlier, the like the nostalgia and the like, oh my gosh, it just takes me straight back to my childhood bedroom. And um, so that's obviously super fun as well. So it's been a positive experience for sure.
Nice. Was there any concern as you moved away from, obviously you've done other albums beyond Kay's Choice, but was there any concern that of, the Kay's Choice following not coming with you to a country sound?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's in the first place because country is non-existent in Europe, really. Maybe England. It's kind of Holland has a little bit more of it. Germany a little bit, but Belgium is like there's not even a radio station that really. It's
Yeah.
got to get really big and really poppy to end up on some kind of radio station in Belgium.
Right.
There's not a lot of crossover with here, so it was mentioned to me that, okay, great, that this is what you're feeling right now, but you're not known in the States anymore, where country music is huge. You're well known in Belgium, where country music is nothing. So it's the worst of both worlds that you're like appealing to
Oh,
right now. um, but yeah, like I was saying earlier, it's just one I wanted to make. It just felt really right. I was
yeah.
listening to that music myself, and pretty much 90% of what I was listening to was the same genre as the record I just made. So I felt like I have to. It just feels right, and so yeah, hopefully, the success kind of comes with it, and people will get it. And I have to say, our fans are in America. Our fans are still there, but just harder to find because our career hasn't been alive here in
Right.
so many years like it has been in Europe. But in Europe, people just like, I think we're so lucky. We just have such loyal fans, and they're really into the whole package of Case Choice, and
That's amazing.
they're not like, oh, we heard Not an Addict, now we're going home, so to beat the traffic or whatever. So um, it's always been a fan base that's just really about us and things that we want to say and who we are. And so the same thing with my transition. It didn't even make a dent in any way where people are like, oh, I'm not, I'm not following anymore,
Because
or
you had
this is,
albums coming out throughout that whole process, right? So
yeah,
there
it's,
wasn't really a break. It wasn't really a break from any type of spotlight. You still had music coming out the whole time. So,
Yeah,
um,
no, it's great. I feel like people are really just appreciate us and we appreciate them, and that's just like, even if I think if I went way off, to something that didn't feel authentic, but I think they know, like you were saying earlier too, that it wasn't such a huge deviation from other things that we've done with Case Choice, and so
yeah,
it's got a little bit of a country and a Americana sauce, but it's still singer-songwriter stuff that I've always been into and that I've
yeah,
even written in the past. So it wasn't a huge. Fortunately, it hasn't been a huge stretch for people in Europe.
I think also when you're showing your heart and who you are, it translates, and your audience sees that and will follow you wherever. Even if it wasn't necessarily what they thought they wanted in the beginning, they see you in it and will follow you because we love you. Um,
Yeah, I hope, I really hope you're right, and I think so. I have these conversations we've had, as probably everyone had, conversations about AI and what it's doing to art and music specifically. And I have to believe, and maybe it's just a really naive side of me, but I have to believe that people even more than before are just yearning for, like, I just give me something real,
we are.
just give me something that I can just close my eyes and listen to. Let me go to a venue that's small, and where the artist is right there, and I just want to hear the voice and the guitar. I just want to know what they're talking about, and I just like, just get rid of all the extras for a second, like. So I think people can really feel that when it comes from a real place, and maybe that's, they wouldn't be able to pin it down, that that's why they like certain things and not other things. But I like to think that's why we kept our fan base all these years, is because they can tell the difference between, something that's authentic, it comes from the heart, and and within that, some people are going to hate my music and other people are going to connect to it. And that's with every artist, like
right.
some things just hit you, right? And you don't know why. But for sure, I think one of the ingredients for longevity has to be that, like I was saying in the very beginning, it has to be something that this is the record I want to listen to, that I would like to listen to. So that's what I'm going to make.
No, I love that. Well, with every one of our artists that comes on, I listen to your music, and then I'm a former teacher and administrator. So one of the things that I bring to the podcast is when I'm listening, I kind of listen for a song that sparks a lesson that I would have used in the classroom. And then I write a lesson for one of your pieces of music.
And luckily, since I'm still in the classroom, my students get to learn a new song and enjoy it.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
So I chose your song California. And I wrote a lesson called Music, the Roadmap to Our Lives. So the purpose of this lesson would be to identify key events on a timeline of events and then create a personal timeline. So I kind of saw your song California as a timeline. So I would have them, I'd start by playing the song California and then give each student a copy. And then their purpose while listening would be to listen for key events in this song and have them mark kind of the events while they were listening. And then ask them, how is this song a timeline? And what is it a timeline of? And then after they're finished, kind of have them discuss and look for evidence of it. And then after they've discussed it, have them kind of discuss what other songs can they think of that are timelines, and start kind of making comparisons. And then after they've kind of discussed that, I want them to start thinking about what events in their own lives could be timeline moments. So starting to think of how they could frame their own life into these kind of timeline events that they could write about
Yeah.
and brainstorm a list. And then start kind of discussing those. So they've got kind of a list in their groups to generate from. And then their task would be to create their own timeline that illustrates one of those events. So kind of choose from their list and then use at least 3 moments to illustrate that event on a continuum. And so I wrote my own, and I'll show you.
I will always send
We'll
these.
send these to you because I know you won't be able to see very well. And I'll read it for you.
All right.
So mine is, oh, get comfortable here. Mine is about our car accident. So it's called Here Once Again. The day we met was the day that I left. The exact moment is still unclear. The light turned green and a left turn, then impact. His face said everything I no longer had words for. The day you struck again, you wiped me clean. Factory reset. My mother once said to me, "No one is coming for you. So, girl, move." And in the dark, I remembered, and I moved. And then I was here again.
Oh, wow. That's really powerful.
Thank you.
That's really nice. Thank you for sharing that.
So that was the lesson that I would do in a classroom.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Well, Sam, thank you so much for being a part of Cassingles today. This has been an absolute pleasure as someone who very much grew up listening to Kay's Choice.
I absolutely had your song playing in my 16-year-old bedroom. So.
Always.
That's awesome. Thanks so much,
So,
guys.
oh, thank you
Thank you so much. It
because
has been so wonderful to talk
yeah,
to you today.
it's it's we appreciate the authenticity of every stage of your music. So thank you so much for that and bringing that into the
That's
world.
really sweet. Well, you guys made my day. Like, I got a feel good day ahead of me.
Good. Well, and if you're ever out in the Portland, Oregon area, we look forward to connecting with you.
That's awesome.
Thanks for listening and following along. We'll be back soon with more stories and songs. That's Cassingles. That's Cassingles. Yeah, that's Cassingles.